I am fucking pissed off. I am pissed off at him over this.
What you're saying, fair.
Yeah.
He was a huge proponent of RFK Jr., which is pretty messed up.
The Boss Tones used to be my very favorite band. However, like you said, just do not extend this to the rest of the band members. If you're like me and heartbroken over the Boss Tones, check out the Kilograms. Fucking great. Joe Gittleman. Super psyched.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Touring with Omnigon.
Yep. Way better than the Defiant. Way better than the Defiant.
Oh God, Defiant's terrible. I'll just say that right there. I'll put that out there.
Yeah.
I did listen to the album. It's pretty bad.
Me too. I will say this. I listened to Joe Gittleman's solo album and the Kilograms, and I listened to the Defiant. Defiant, not good. All the Joe Gittleman stuff, good.
Yeah.
And that is not even as anything, nothing to do with how I think of them as people either.
Yep.
Back to Crack Rock Steady.
Yes.
So you talked about two bands that started to use the term Crack Rock Steady to self-identify. So in a way, we might even say like they solidified this as a genre because like when a band self-identifies, it could just be silliness. But when other bands start to say, oh yeah, that's us too. We use that term too. That starts to create a culture of like, this is a thing. This is a genre. This is a movement.
And so, and it's kind of like super fascinating that like when I was trying to like research it and really pin it down, like I said, bands that weren't connected to Choking Victim or Leftover Crack. So of course there's Morning Glory, there's In Decay. We're not counting those bands. So we have Team Spider, which I basically never hear anybody ever mention, which is like a Crack Rock Steady punk ska style band based out of New York City. They were tied into the Choking Victim Leftover Crack crew because where their name came from, Team Spider, is they were. This is such a bizarre story. They were bicycle activists in New York City, as in, like activists for trying to get more bicycle lanes and stuff like that going. And they would do protests where they would bicycle where there weren't supposed to be bicycles. And also, tangentially related, the person running this organization that also led the band would also essentially lead people into running into concerts without paying for the door fee. Would call everything "Let's Go Team Spider." So this was kind of like this activist, weirdo, anarcho art activist thing, ska punk band. And then what made them really, really noteworthy is then they recruited an 80-year-old beat poet. So Team Spider is Crack Rock Steady ska punk music with an 80-year-old beat poet doing spoken word poetry over top of it. So imagine Leftover Crack, and then for the breakdowns, there's an 80-year-old man doing beat poetry. And it's all highly, highly, highly political.
So for me, I don't know if Adam, if you're the same way, I'm definitely not like super knowledgeable on all the thousands of bands that play this style or have played this style. I like the Choking Victim LP. And to me, this is like, in my personal opinion, this is the height of this style of music, is that record. Like I've never heard the music done better than No Gods, No Manager. Or is that the name, right?
Yeah, No Gods, No Managers, correct.
Yeah, I've never heard it done better. Adam, what do you think about it?
I mean, one of the main trappings I seem to notice of a lot of these type of bands is, low budget, no budget recording. So everything kind of sounds not great, or sometimes is intentionally sounds not great. And all the bands usually seem to exist for a single EP or album and then break up, usually under kind of crazy circumstances where members hate each other. Or I mean, that's just been my viewpoint on it. I mean, some of the stuff I find interesting.
As a super fan, that is all correct.
Okay. One of the bands that I think I've heard that I liked was called Leper.
Yeah, they're great.
As I understand, they don't really have much of a presence online. They put out one record, as far as I know. Don't play shows, aren't playing music anymore.
Jeff, do you agree with me that No Gods No Managers is the best recording of Crack Rock Steady, or would you argue that there's better versions of it out there?
Yeah, I explicitly would argue there is actually a band that is better than Leftover Crack at their own style.
Okay,
let's hear who is this?
Do we want to talk about No Cash real quick, or do we want to go to that?
Talk about No Cash, and then let's talk about who you think is better than Choking Victim, Leftover Craft. Yeah.
So we talk about like Crack Rock Steady as a brand. So we got like that activist band, Team Spider, which, by the way, anyone listening, look up Team Spider. It is such an extremely weird, artistic punk ska artifact. The band no longer exists. The 80-year-old beat poet, unfortunately, he died. I don't know if it's still on their website, but I actually kind of wrote like a tribute to him that the band had on their front page of their website for a long period of time. I actually booked them and they played in my small middle of nowhere town, Pennsylvania, that they came down from New York City and they played. And the activist guy, actually adopted a kitten from one of my friends. When they came, they took a kitten back with them and they had that cat for years and years. But No Cash, Pennsylvania, the other side, No Cash was just a bunch of high school teenagers that kind of like were straight up like, Choking Victim is the coolest band ever. Leftover Crack is the coolest band ever. We want to be them. We're just gonna straight up be them. And they recorded, actually they did a split album with Team Spider. And like I said, like everyone, like people, super punk nerds know No Cash, but everyone seems to have forgotten about Team Spider. But they did a split album together, and then No Cash did a, album which, oh my god, I can't believe I'm spacing on it. I have it pulled up right here. Run Your Pockets, and which is a fantastic Crack Rock Steady album, which Stza produced. And No Cash called themselves Crack Rock Steady. And that's kind of where it all started. Also, brag time, I got to see No Cash actually open for the Pie Tasters in the Basement Show in Baltimore. That's one of my big punk rock brags.
Boom.
One of the other big I feel like trappings of Crack Rock Steady is like self-referencing, where it's like a lot of bands will be named after song titles or album titles. Like there's a Bay Area band called Run Your Pockets.
And there's a great Idaho band called 40 Ounces, which is a reference to Leftover Crack song. In fact, I have pulled up in my list of bands. There's also Five Finger Discount. There's a number of bands that directly reference Leftover Crack, Choking Victim song titles or lyrics.
Do we consider Low Cash Ninjas to be Crack Rock Steady?
I absolutely would.
And that's probably the only other than Brad Logan from Leftover Crack and the author of Architects of Self-Destruction. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only other instance of us having a Crack Rock Steady musician on this podcast, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Which has been, one of your biggest beefs with me.
Yeah, I've been encouraging you to have more on. You need to have Chet Nelbill on. You need to have MC Devlin on. Those are the two big. Oh no, you need to have Squirt on. Those are the three. Those are the three you need to have on.
So MC Devlin, he came from No Cash, right?
Yes.
And then MC Devlin kind of went in a different direction, like kind of rap, ska, reggae. Yeah.
Yes. So No Cash, which was a straight up Choking Victim, Leftover Crack ripoff band. For anyone that's heard that band, most people's favorite song by them, myself included, is Gasoline.